What's up, y'all? This is Jay Watts with Uber Jeep AZ, and today we're going to do a tune-up on this BMW 330i 2019. It's just a quick spark plug swap out. I'm about 56,000 miles, so it's time to get this going. I decided to go with the Bosch. They were about $45 for 4 of them, and they came with the little cardboard sleeve on it. That lets you know that they were pre-gapped. Don't forget to get your anti-seize, because you're going to need that. You're going to need a 6.5 inch, just regular. Get you a 6.5 inch socket. That'll be for your coil packs. And get you a 15 millimeter socket. And this is for your actual spark plugs. I got 15 millimeter, even though it looks kind of weird like that, like it's about a 12 point. I just used a regular 6 point. Fits just fine. Like you can just, slide them on there like this. Locks in place pretty good. So a 15 would work, even though it kind of looks kind of weird like that. I had to take a break real quick, and then nightfall started hitting, and I got down to the spark plugs. You need a thin wall socket for a BMW 330i. Make sure you have a thin wall socket, 14 millimeter or 9/16. I tried to use that 15, it didn't work. It was hitting something, so I shined my light down in there. Sure enough, the wall gets really thin the deeper you go down in there. And I tried a 9/16, same thing. The wall gets really thin when you get down in there, and I'm like, what is the deal? So I took my socket, looked at it, I was like, holy crap, the socket's too thick. You need a thin wall. And it's cool because it's got that little piece in there that slides around the tip of that plug so it doesn't shatter that ceramic. And then it's got the nice grooves in it. So this is what you'll need right there. It won't focus, but there you go. It's a 14 millimeter thin wall socket. Okay, I'm back. I got the right equipment now. Like I said, this 15 millimeter doesn't work. It's just not thin enough. You need that thin side wall. That's just way too thick right there. So it should be able to go right down in there. I feel it engaging. There we go. That was all I needed, was a thin wall 14. Let's see how this plug looks. There's a pretty long thread on it, so I gotta make sure I get this whole thing out. Yep, bam, there you go. It's the old and the new. There you go. So I think roughly it's about time. Yep. It's looking pretty dilapidated. I'll show you up closer. Hold up. Let's see. So that's the old and the new. So you can see how, it's starting to yellow up right around the ceramic tip or whatever. I mean, that right there is getting pretty thin. You can see that thing starting to wear down. And you want to make sure that it stays nice and thick, the tips stay nice and thick like that. Otherwise, it'll end up, that piece can end up breaking off and getting trapped in the cylinder. I've seen it happen before. But yeah, it's about time. So if you got a BMW around 50,000 miles, make sure you swap them plugs out. I'm at about 56 right now, changing them out. Oh, and when you're ready to work on the second coil pack, what you do, this piece right here, just kind of grab it and slide it back toward the firewall a little bit, like that, and it comes right off. It just slides on like a little sleeve, and it'll snap back in place when you're ready. But that's how you get access to that right there. You get access to that bolt right there. Like I said, now I can just go straight down to it, hit it, bam, I'm right on top of it. And clean these things off. I hate dust, I swear. Clean those off when you're done. Like I said, you can get to the back one pretty easy. So I got all mine loosened up. Now it's just time to pop them out. Use my 14 thin wall, pull them out. Now here are all my coil packs up here at top. I didn't, unattach any of these. I didn't take any of the harnesses off because I didn't have to. I mean, these things are long enough to kind of sit right up on top of the fuel rail. But just pop them out, rotate them, flip them up. When you're taking the third one out, make sure you watch out for this pressure regulator. That's a fuel pressure regulator right here. It's sitting right on the fuel rail. So make sure you kind of work it out around, pop it up, flip it up there. The back one's pretty easy to get out because this little thing flaps right there. Pop it out, flip it up there, good to go. Now I can get access to all my plugs. And hey, don't forget, put this on your plugs before you put them back in, because I can tell when they left the factory, they didn't have any on there. That's just like dry. That's dried up and just cooked. So I don't know if they put any on there in the factory. Maybe they did put some brown or gold on there or whatever, but I don't know. I like to use my silver, you know, anti-seize, so I'm gonna use that as I put them back on. Pull out. Let's go back in there and grab it. A few extra turns. Pull it out. There we go. Yep. So that's all 4 of them right there. That's it. They're pretty burnt. Number 1 was worse. Number 1 had like the yellow around it. The rest don't have the yellow quite, but I mean, they're still pretty charred. The diodes are pretty charred up, so I don't know. They probably would have lasted another, I don't know, 15,000 miles, maybe. All right, here we go. Anti-seize. A lot of people hate to get this on their finger. I don't care. I've been doing this for so many years, and none of it's left. So I start at the end and like make sure I get the ends first, because this is what's going into the socket hole first. So make sure you get the ends. Just kind of smooth it on around. That's good enough for that. Some people might want to go all the way down, but I think as I'm putting it in, it'll kind of have some carry through, because I got it in these threads pretty deep. Yeah, always put that stuff on there. So that'll help you get these plugs off a whole lot easier. I think I'm gonna change them again. Like I said, I'm at 55. I'll change them again at probably 80. I'm gonna give them 30,000 miles, and I'm gonna pull them and just take a look at them. If they still look decent, I won't swap them out. But these should be pre-gapped, but you can always check the gaps if you want to. Get you a little gap checking tool right at the counter of like AutoZone or O'Reilly. Like I said, check your gaps. I usually don't check my gaps on my pre-gap stuff. Some people do. All depends on how you. I've been doing this for so many years. It hasn't failed me yet. People might give me thumbs down. Guess what? I could care less. Yep, so they all look pretty good. That looks pretty good. Yep, all my gaps look pretty. Like I said, I can just eyeball it, and all the gaps look pretty good. Now these gaps will be worn a little bit because of just wear and tear and use, but all these gaps look pretty even. It's all good to go. I'm ready to install them now. Yeesh. Wait a minute. So to install, just go. That's it, and this kind of holds it in place. I start by hand. Get them in there until I can't do it anymore. There it is. So that's pretty much bottomed out almost. This is getting pretty tight. All right, that's bottomed out. It won't turn anymore. Go to the next one, and I'll tighten them all up at the same time. Well, I ran out of boot grease somewhere along the line, but I got some high temp grease. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, you just barely like dip your finger in here like this, like a little bit, and just kind of put it like right on the inside, just like that. Because what that's going to do is prevent it from heating up and sticking on there. And I'll do it to each one. Like I said, you don't want a whole lot. It's just grease. That's all it is. Just kind of right on around the inside. And what that'll do is that'll make sure that thing doesn't stick once I put everything in there. Make sure it's just on the sides and it's not in the hole, because you don't want to get it on the tip of that spark plug. So just make sure it's down the sides of it. That's it. And you don't want a whole lot, just enough to kind of smear in there. So that's good right there. Because as I'm pushing it on there, as soon as you push it in, it'll start kind of greasing down the sides of it like that as you push it in, so your boot won't get stuck to this ceramic and be hard and probably rip your boot and have the boot down in there. Then you can't get the socket on and get the socket off. It's a whole nightmare. We've all been there. Alright, let's start putting all these back in. That's number 1. Slips right on. That's number 2. I'll get this out the way, and you gotta put that back on. Alright, let me see it. If I see any grease in the way, I'm slicking it down, getting it out of my way, because I don't want it to touch the tip of my spark plug. That's number 4 anyways, that's way in the back. Let's put number 4 just to get them out of the way. It's 4. It's 3. Like I said, these things, it's snap in there pretty snug. Yep. Make sure you got it lined up with that with the bolt that holds it down in there, the retaining bolt. And once we're all done, I'll clean it all off and everything. But it's pretty easy, tune up or whatever. So you don't have to force it on there, just barely turn it. They should lock in. You don't have to torque them that hard. I mean, 5, 10, nothing. And that'll help prevent that spark plug from turning too. So let's see, this is, pretty easy. I could probably teach, my 14-year-old to do a tune-up on a BMW. That's how easy this is. So if you want to pay a shop, hey, knock yourself out. Sometimes it helps stay under warranty, whatever this and that. Mine is out of warranty. I just bought it this year and it had a warranty on it, but I drive a lot. So I blasted the warranty out of the water real quick. But that's okay, because I do my own work anyways. I trust me. A lot of people may not trust themselves, and that's totally okay. But like I said, I've done some screw-ups on cars to where I'm like, I think I need some help. I've done it. So if you think you can't do it right, don't risk it. But like I said, I could probably teach my 14-year-old to do this. All right, torque these down just a little bit. I'm just making sure. Yep. And just snug. You don't have to make them super tight. Get them good and snug. There. Because you can always come back at any time and, check these. Remember, slide that back on. That's good to go. I'm going to get wipe all my coils off. I hate dusty coils. That's like the worst thing is dust. I try to keep all my engines clean. Just kind of wipe them down a little bit because that'll let you see if anything's leaking, dripping, whatever. Keep your engine clean. It'll make sense all in the morning. All right, so basically, that's the tune-up right there. Everything's locked back down. Everything's good to go. Oh. Put this back on. Once you line it up with the cap, just press it on there. That's it. Good to go. I got that gray stuff on my hand. It'll come off. I ain't stressing it. It'll come off. All right. That's it. There you go.